Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial on how to create player health and stamina bar. In this tutorial, we will also create a system where you can add additional stats using the same code and expand the system very easily. We will be creating a simple pickup system to trigger healing, building stamina, or take damage. So let's get into it. I'm using a brand new third-person project. You can use a third-person project as well, a brand new one to follow through, or you can use your existing project. I'm going to create a new folder and call it stats system, because we're going to have the health and the stamina as well in here. So I just want to keep it nice and clean. Inside of here, we're going to have first folder is going to be called material, because Unreal does not have a red and a blue material off the get-go. So we need to create that material. So we can actually do that by going into the material folder, go to material, and then select material. And we're going to create a red material for the health. Sorry, we need to do red underscore mat. And then we're going to create another material here and then call it blue underscore mat. Now this red material, the only thing you need to do is this base color, click on the square, make it red. I would like to have a little bit darker red. Apply and save. That's it. And then now we do the same thing for the blue material. Go select a blue. I like this blue. Apply. That's a nice blue. Save. Now that's it for the materials. Then now we are going to create the UI, which is the player HUD, which shows the progress bars. So I'm going to create a folder called UI. And inside of here, I'm going to right click, go to user interface, widget blueprint, user widget, and call it W underscore player HUD. Usually the player heads-up display or HUD contains the stamina and also the health bar. So I'm just going to create a player HUD, save, and then we're going to go to the canvas panel. We're going to take a canvas panel and drop it. This just kind of gives you an idea of where in the screen you want to drop your health bar and your stamina bar. We're going to create two size boxes. I'm going to take one size box and then put a second one in there too. The first size box, I'm going to press F2 on the keyboard to rename it, and I'm going to call it health. And the second size box, I'm going to call it stamina. And you can create more and more of these size boxes as you like. I'm going to select the health size box and then set the anchors to the bottom left. So the size box is over here, and then I set the position Y to 0. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually drag the size box and put it where I think I would like to see the health bar. I'm going to just put it right here and then make it that big. Again, you can custom field to change it and make it bigger, smaller, however you like. And I'm going to do the same thing. And then I'm going to actually take the anchors and then put it in the top right corner. And then this anchor on the bottom left corner. I'm going to do the same thing with the stamina bar. Set the anchor to bottom left. Position Y, I'm going to set it to 0. I'm going to drag this stamina. Let's offset it a little bit. And then let's make it stick out a little bit like this. So it's kind of like a staggered effect to it. And I'm also going to make it a little bit more skinnier because we want the health bar to be bigger and the stamina bar to be a little bit more skinnier. Do the same thing with the anchor to position this on the screen properly. Okay, and now we're going to need to do two things. Well, we're going to grab a progress bar and then add it inside of this on top of the health, not below it or between it. Just drop it right on top of the health, and that will add a progress bar inside of the size box. And then do the same thing for the stamina, and that's going to add another progress bar inside of the stamina bar. Now select the progress bar, and we're going to go ahead and then rename this as health bar. On the second progress bar, we're going to rename it stamina bar. Select the health bar, and in this fill color and opacity, you can actually change the color of the health. I like to have a nice dark red color health. As you can see, nothing really changed because the percent is still 0. As you increase the percent, you will notice how this is how the health bar is going to move up and down. And also notice that the percent is actually a fraction of 1. It's not a whole number. a whole 1 would actually be the full bar, and then 0 would be an empty bar. Same thing for stamina. I'm going to leave it at this. Actually, we can make this a little bit more darker just to make it look pretty. Same thing. The stamina bar would do the exact same thing. And now you can make it look all pretty and stuff by adding borders and or an image behind it. However you want to seem fit, customize it, you can feel free to customize this. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to leave it as such. Now, to update the progress bar based on the player's health is pretty straightforward. First, we need to give the player an actual health value. So we're going to go to a third person, blueprints, BP third person character. We're going to create 2 variables. One is the health variable. This would be of type float. And the second one is of the type stamina, and this will also be float. Now, you can make it as an integer if you would like to have the health go up by increments of 1. I like float because it has a much more smoother transition to it. Now that we have added these 2 stamina, again, you don't need to set up anything. We're just going to leave our health and stamina at 0 for the time being. And then we're going to go and do the code for this. And on the health bar, the percent, we're going to bind a function to it. Instead of having to create an event to update this progress every single time that the health goes up or down, we're just going to create a binding. So we'll constantly keep checking what's the health on the player and update it as such. So in here, we're going to go and cast to our third person character and make a get player character as your object reference here. From here, we just created the health variable, so we're going to just say get health. And because this health is going to be a whole number, and this percent, if you remember, is actually a fraction, we're just going to take this and simply divide it by 100. And that will give us our fraction that we need. And that is it for the health function. I'm going to just copy this health function, and I'm going to do the same thing on the stamina function as well. Bind, create binding. I can paste it. Again, we don't care about the health here. We just care about the stamina. So I'm just going to say stamina. Get stamina. Okay, there you go. Okay. And, oh, sorry. It actually goes in here, and this one actually goes in here. Makes more sense. Alrighty, so that's it for the player HUD. We don't have to do any more coding or anything like that to update this player HUD. This is all you need to do. And to add this player HUD to our player, off of begin play, there's the controller setup and everything. After that, where there's an empty spot, I'm just going to say create a widget and select the player HUD. So if I go to the stats system and then UI, there's a player HUD. I'm just going to go ahead and select this here. And I'm going to say add to viewport. If I quickly play and show you, there's your progress bars, health and stamina, right here at the bottom. Now we're going to go ahead and close it. And now we need a way to update the stamina and the health based on either a potion drinking or a pickup. We're going to use a function to manage both increasing either stamina or health or any other potions that you may have in your game. We're going to use a common function to actually control that. So we're going to go create a function called increase stat. Now this increase stat, when the function is called, it's going to identify which you need to increase, whether it be a health or stamina, depending on what you're drinking, and or what you're picking up or consuming, whatever the case may be. And then also it's going to take a number as to how much you want to increase your health by. So first we're gonna create an input here, and we want to know how much amount to increase, how much you want to increase the health by, and again float. And secondly, we want to get the type of stat that we want to impact. Now we have the health stat and also the stamina stat. We're going to create something called an enumeration in our UI. What enumeration is basically a list. You can list out as many different types of stats that you have, and then we can actually edit it. So I'm gonna say e underscore player stats, right? Player stats. Again, this could be even a level. that you want to add. Right now, we're going to add health and stamina because this is all we're working on. And in the future, if you say, if you want to increase the damage of the player, you can use the same exact function and then say damage. And then what this does is, oh, before that, we need to add that ePlayer stats to our function as an input. So I'm going to say stat to increase. And the stat would be the E underscore player stats. ePlayer stats, there it is, okay? Now what this does is, if I drag off of this player stat, I can use something called a switch function on it. So the switch function actually goes to the player stats and gets every single entry that you have in there. And when this function is called and we define which stat to increase, and if we define saying, hey, increase the health, then this function will fire. If you say increase the stamina, then this line will fire, and if you say increase the damage, and this line will fire. And we already have amount to increase, and we can actually make it so that when the health increases, it increases by this amount. Let's move the amount lower, just for tidying, like to make it look pretty and stuff. Nothing else. There it is. Okay, so some weird. Okay, we drag that down, so just to make it nice and clean. Now, when the stat increase is health, we want to increase the health. Now, the health right now is set to 0, but we want to set a maximum health cap, right? We don't want the player to indefinitely keep healing again and again. We want to say after the player reaches, like, let's say 100 points, that's the maximum they can go. And so we're going to create a function called, variable called maximum health. We're going to do the same thing for stamina. We don't want the player to have unlimited stamina, like keep going again and again and getting more stamina. We want to cap their stamina at the maximum stamina point. So we're going to now take the health. Well, if the increased stat is going to be health, we're going to say get health. And we're going to go ahead and add. What we're going to add is the amount to increase. Now, instead of me dragging this line into here, I'm going to drag off of it and say get amount to increase. So this is basically, this amount to increase is the same as this, whatever is coming in. Instead of dragging the line, I just picked it up over here. And now, once we get our current health, and then our amount to increase, and then add the amount to increase, we want to make sure that it sets at the maximum health. It doesn't go beyond that. To do that, we can just actually use a clamp float. There's clamp integer, there's clamp float. I'm using float because in all of our variables are float. You can use clamp integer if you want to use integers. So there's a clamp. So there's clamp float, angle, clamp integer, and there's various different types of clamps that you can do. What this clamp does is make sure that the minimum value of this health is going to be at 0, but the maximum value of this health is going to be that max amount that we're going to set up. Now currently the max health is set to 0. We want to set that to 100. So that means this will never allow the player's health to go beyond 100. With that, we're going to take the health, get health. Oh, sorry, it's not going to be get health. We need to set the health to this clamped value, which is a maximum 100, minimum 0. So it's going to be somewhere in between that. And for stamina, it's the exact same function. So I can actually do it this way. Get the stamina, get amount to increase, and then add the amount to increase to the stamina, and then clamp it, right? Clamp in a float. And the maximum would be the maximum stamina. You can set up a minimum as well. If you want to get a minimum stamina to set to 0, this is already set to 0. If you're creating a function to decrease your health stat, like taking damage or such, you can use that to clamp it to a minimum. But you can use this exact same function to damage, like you would get the damage get the player health, and you would subtract the amount to increase or amount changed. Here we can actually make this, instead of saying amount to increase, we're going to say amount. Just say amount, and the entire function, instead of saying increase stat, we're going to say update stat. So this makes more sense because now it could be like, lowering the health, increasing the health, whatever the case may be. And now because we changed this to an amount, amount increase is no longer available. We just need to change that to amount, get amount. Same thing here. We're going to just make this to get amount. There we go. And now that we have the stamina, we're going to get our stamina and then set it to this number and then drag it off of stamina. Now, whenever the health is called, it's going to go take our health, add the amount that is coming in, and then clamp it to the maximum health so it doesn't go beyond this maximum health, and it's going to set our new health. So then stamina is going to do the same thing as well. For damage, it's going to do, I can show you how damage is done. I know it's not part of this training, but I'll just quickly show you how the damage is done as well. For damage, you would just take our current health, and then you would go ahead and do a subtract, the amount that it's coming in, right? And then now you would do another clamp, again, clamp float. The maximum is going to be the maximum health. The minimum, you're going to set it to 0, so it cannot go to -1 or minus something. It's going to go, if it goes to 0, it's going to set at 0. And then now you would get the health, and then you would just set it to this, and then that would be your damage function. We got the damage done as well. So that's how simple it is. And again, you can keep adding more and more and more functionalities to this as you see fit. I can actually put this, it's not going to look that pretty at all because it has a lot of things. What you can do is if you ever get into a situation like this, that it gets like really messy with the switch function, you can just select all of it like this, and then you can right click, collapse nodes. And you can say stamina. Oh, update stamina, sorry. Right, and then same thing for the health as well. Bring it closer, select it, I'll go collapse nodes, update health. Same thing here, and we're gonna say collapse node, take damage. This looks much more cleaner than what we did. And if you want to go back into those functions to update it, change it, or whatever, you can just double click it, and then you got your entire function with the input and the outputs. You don't have to worry about the outputs. Input is what is coming, starting this function. So here we go. So now we can go back, and you can change the color and update health. You can make it red. If you like update stamina, you can make it, there's so much customization. It doesn't really matter what you want to do with this, right? But that's basically what we're going to do. Now we need to figure out a way to actually call these functions. So again, we're done with the update stat. We don't have to worry about this anymore. We're done with the player stats as well. Again, it is fully expandable. You can expand as many as you want, and you just create that add function to it. And now the last thing that we're going to do today is to figure out a way how to actually pick up these materials. So I'm going to make a simple pickup item, and I call it BP underscore health. It's going to be a health pickup. I'm going to duplicate this into BP underscore stamina, and then I'm going to do the same thing again, and I'm going to say BP underscore damage. So under BP underscore health, I'm going to add a quick sphere, and then also I'm going to add a sphere collision. Right, I'm going to say collision, compile. We don't need any of this. We're going to go ahead, right click on the collision and say add event, and say on component begin overlap. Now one more thing that we want to do is this collision is way smaller, so you would never be able to get to the collision because the sphere is actually a colliding object. So you'll just stop at the sphere. So we're just going to make this collision bigger than the sphere so you can actually touch it. So as you can see, there's a little bit of touch to the collision box because we do need to touch it so that we can actually run this function called begin overlap. When we begin overlap, our character is going to overlap it, and our character is going to be the other character. So we're going to take that, and then we're going to cast to third person character. From the third person character, we're going to call that function called update stats. Now the cool thing is, now the update stat has a couple things for you. It has all of your enumeration that you created here, so you can select what stat you want to increase. And also the amount is something that you can edit as well. You can do something called a random float in range. This gives you a minimum to maximum. If I were to plug this in and I say health, that means the stat is going to heal your player at least by 5 points or up to 25 points, somewhere in between, a random number. Again, you can choose to make it a static number. Like every time you pick up this circle, it's going to heal you 10. You can make it like a rare circle, epic sphere, or rare healing, a legendary healing or something. And everything can have its own functionality. If you would like for me to do a training on how to create those different variations of the health potions, I'll be more than happy to make one. Just let me know in the comment section. But for the time being, we're just going to create a random number. So it's going to heal anywhere between 5 and 25 when I trigger this function. And also, after doing triggering this function, I want to do a 0.2 delay just to make sure that this function runs properly. And then I'm going to say destroy actor. We don't want to destroy the actor before our health get updated and stuff. And also remember, we created the material earlier on today. Just for visual sake, we're going to go ahead and add that red material to this. So that's your health. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go here. I'm going to basically copy, actually without copying, let's do something. Let's go back. Damage, delete. Stamina, delete. Right, I'm going to right click and then I'm going to say duplicate. And then say BP underscore stamina, duplicate, BP underscore damage. Now all the functions are already there in there for me. I just gotta go into stamina, click on the sphere, change this material to blue, right? Oh, this is a solid blue. I like this blue. It's just preference. Again, in the event graph, don't need to do anything. We just need to do stamina. Again, this is a random range. You can make it static as you would like. And then also for the damage, I'm going to make it visually different by making it like a brown walnut looking thing, right? And the event is going to be damage, and it's going to take anywhere from 5 to like, let's take like 10 maximum 10, 15 damage. And now we can test this. I can go ahead, content drawer, click all these 3 and then drag it and drop it into the map. And I can just select 1, drag it out of the way, select 2, drag it out of the way. So we have your damage, health, and your stamina. I'm going to select all 3, hold down Alt on my keyboard, and then I'm going to move this up. You have to release Alt and press it again every time you want to make a new copy. So now we can go ahead and test this. So we have the health in the middle, we have stamina, and then we also have the damage. So if I take a damage right now, you'll notice nothing happens to our progress bar because remember we did the clamp, so it's not going to go anything beyond 0. If I press health, if I collect health, you'll notice how the health is going up. Same thing for stamina. If I select the stamina, oh, that didn't do anything. Oh, max stamina is set to 0 as well. We need to, obviously, we need to set up a max for it. So let's try that again. Health bar. And then if I take a damage, you'll notice the health will go down. Stamina should now increase. Increase, increase, increase. And then if I take some health, and then if I take any damage, you notice the health bar is going down, healing, and then increase stamina. So that is actually fully functional. That's it for the tutorial. If you like this tutorial, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more and more tutorials like this. Liking the video and commenting on the video actually helps the channel grow and reach more developers just like you. And if you have any questions or if you would like for me to do a specific training of your choice, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. So again, thank you very much for stopping by today. I really do appreciate your support and looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you.